1. What are vitamins? 2. Why do we need vitamins? And 3. Why should you buy Black Girl Vitamins? Listen up. Welcome to Black Women's Health Podcast. I have two very special guests with me. These are women who are involved with a company called Black Girl Vitamins. And they're going to tell us about what they do, why vitamins are necessary, tell us about their company. But first, let me do the introductions. We have Dr. Brianne Standerford Barrett.
I'm a medical advisor. I'm a board certified internal medicine physician, and I serve as one of our medical advisors for BGV.
Very good. And also, we have the pleasure of having the Chief Strategy Officer, Ms. Jennifer Juma. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so Doctor, let's just start with some really basic questions so that we all have an understanding. What are vitamins?
Vitamins are essentially micronutrients that our body needs to build our immune system, help our bone strength, help our metabolism. You have non-essential vitamins and then you have essential vitamins. So vitamins are very important for just the basic function of life. Essential vitamins are vitamins that the body can essentially, you need to get them from other sources, whereas non-essential means that the body can actually make the vitamins themselves. So like vitamin D is technically a non-essential vitamin because technically from the sun, we should be getting the vitamin D and our body can then generate it to its active form to then be used for the body for production, bone health, metabolism, immune function, etc. Whereas your essential vitamins you must get from diet or supplementation. Those are like your B's, your C's, your like those types of vitamins. Mostly everything else aside from vitamin D and choline. You have 15 vitamins and then there's minerals. So we talk about like our calcium, our iron, our magnesium. Those are our minerals. And then our vitamins, there are about 15 that I know of offhand. Oh, this is my favorite thing to talk about. So technically speaking, and we tell people that they should eat a balanced diet to get the vitamins that they need to do the bodily functions that we need to survive. Unfortunately, now in our US culture, a lot of our food that we eat is a lot of preservative-based foods, foods that are what we call filled with like fillers and different things. And so you might have a high macronutrient food, meaning like a lot of carbs, proteins, fats, but that macronutrient food doesn't have the micronutrients, those essential vitamins that we were talking about in them for the body to actually use to do what it needs to do. So that's where we are. And people just aren't eating fruits and veggies either. Certain medications can lower vitamins naturally, like phenobarbital. We use that for seizures. That can actually lower vitamin D levels. And there's also other conditions that can make vitamins levels low in our body. The other thing too that I'm starting to see in people who do eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, in the US, a lot of our fruits and veggies aren't staying on the stems long enough to absorb the nutrients that we need. So I'm seeing some people who eat a nice balanced diet, but because of US agriculture and different things like that, we're still deficient.
In your clinical practice, do you measure vitamin levels and mineral levels?
I do. I think I'm a doctor. There's a lot of changes coming in medicine that we're now starting to see. So when we see a person, and it's very common to see someone who's tired, doesn't have energy, muscles hurt, etc. So aside from me thinking about the conventional medical diagnoses that may cause those things, I'm a doc that likes to intertwine. Let's start with the basics. Are you getting your vitamin D? Are you getting your nutrients? Are you getting the things you need first before I go into trying to treat with more conventional medications? And oftentimes, so many of us are low in vitamin D and low in iron and low in very, very things that could, replace what we're feeling. And you get people on the right regimen and they're feeling so much better quickly. You can ask for your Bs, your B complexes. There are several Bs in that B complex. We can check vitamin C levels. You can check vitamin D levels. You can check vitamin A levels. You can check all 15 levels of vitamins. I think the bigger issue comes in because most people come into the doctor, most people use medical health insurance, and they assume that insurance is going to cover this vitamin assessment. Fortunately, that's not the case. So some people come in and they're like, I only want what my insurance covers. That doesn't cover a complete vitamin assessment. So that's a separate conversation that needs to be had with the person to say you might, get a fee for this because it's unfortunately not a part of what insurance may cover for you. Every lab price varies. So you can also like call around to different labs. So like Quest Lab, which is a lab we have here in Michigan, you can actually call. They have different ways to get testing done without a physician's oversight. And for example, you can call and say, hey, I want these tests done. Can I get them done? Get the printout and bring that to your primary care doctor. That's another option too. Vitamin levels also can vary. So going back to vitamins, we have water soluble vitamins, which are your B's, your C's, those ones, and then you have your fat soluble, which are your A, D, E, and K. So it also depends on where your levels are, and in my opinion, like things like vitamin A, D, E, and K are a little, I don't want to say more important, but like the water soluble vitamins, if you do take too many of those, you can actually excrete excess through your urine. So meaning you won't build up those levels in your body. Whereas D, people can overtake D and it can store in your body and cause toxicity levels. I think it depends on where you are, what kind of disease processes you have. People come in and they want a nutritional assessment, and I'm happy to order it for them, and we start there. But remember too, as you age, different vitamin values you may need more as you get older, less as you're younger, and just depends on what you're doing and what your day-to-day looks like. So for example, vitamin D, we'll go with vitamin D. Vitamin D, if you look at the statistical norm that we use in the lab, they'll call it 30 normal. So anything technically over 30 is normal. But clinically, for me, especially people who live in places like Michigan, where your sun is going down at 4:30 and you're getting very little to no sunlight, then I'm gonna, check it, and I want it to be closer to 50 just to kind of get the levels where they need to be so you're feeling better through that period. So what I'm trying to say is that your body may need more because absorption starts to change as we age. As we age, we get different disorders, megaloblastic anemia, different things that affect absorption as we age. So you may need more of a particular vitamin just to reach those normal levels.
Is this considered standard of care?
That's a really good question. One thing I'm learning as a primary care doc, standard of care to me varies based on the doctor, right? Like there are things that I've seen other doctors do, which is their standard. And there are things that I've learned to tweak. Like we're not honestly taught to chase vitamin levels and treat vitamin levels in medical school. We're not. That's just the honest truth. So it takes a lot of discernment from the physician on their own to value these vitamins and nutrient levels into their own practices. So I don't know if it's standard of care. I like it's so interesting because we're taught to treat disease versus being taught to prevent disease. And I don't even want to put it all on the doc because realistically, this is something that even the insurance companies could help us out with in terms of, for example, if a person comes in and they're low on a particular vitamin, a lot of insurances don't even cover vitamins supplementation when you're low. So this is the reason I teamed up with Black Girl Vitamins because I wanted a vitamin I could trust for my patients so that I knew if I gave you this D level vitamin, for example, your levels will actually come up.
How do I know? I buy vitamins, I start taking the vitamins. How do I know it's sufficient?
And so that's the tricky part. And I'm happy you said go and buy vitamins. So interestingly enough, I have people that, in this world, or this era that we're in, you can literally Google anything, TikTok anything. And if someone on TikTok says, do this, you're going to do this. That's kind of where we are, which honestly can be a good and bad thing. I've seen it negatively affect people, unfortunately. So right now, what I noticed is that, and I can kind of tell you why I connected with Black Girl Vitamins, and this will kind of help answer your question. But I started to realize if a person was vitamin D deficient, I'll say, hey, why don't you go start taking vitamin D? And as I said previously, insurance, if I can technically send a vitamin order to a pharmacy. Now, if the insurance will cover that, that's a different question. So, but most insurances don't have over-the-counter coverage for certain things like that. So what started to happen was I would tell people, hey, go take some vitamins, get something over the counter. They'll go get some vitamin, whatever have you. I'll go recheck levels to see where we are, and there will be no change. And I'll call them back and I say, hey, did you actually take the iron? Did you take the D? The levels are literally still the same. There's no change. They'll say, yeah, Dr. Sandifer, I did. I took the vitamins. I bought them from this store. And I said, well, what was the dose? I said, well, that's the right dose. So they'll take it correctly, but they wouldn't get the values would not change. And so that's when I connected with Black Girl Vitamins, and I just really to get a supplementation that I could trust for my patients. And I noticed that when people would take certain vitamins from Black Girl Vitamins, and I go and I recheck the levels are going up. That's when I quickly realized every vitamin is not treated the same with different companies. FDA doesn't regulate in terms of, like, for example, medical drugs that I might give a patient. So there's like pre-market analysis, trials, that phase 1, 2, and 3 trials, and there's post-market analysis that typical standardized drugs you may get from a pharmacy go through before we're able to give them. Vitamins, on the other hand, and supplements don't have that pre-marketing trial 1 through 3 phase. They do have post-market analysis. There is people from the Federal Trade Commission that actually check to make sure. So if a person's taking some random supplement, for example, Oxylete Pro a few years ago was on the market as a supplement to help people lose weight. Post-market analysis started to show that people develop liver disease or liver dysfunction from taking this particular drug because it had a component in it that was concerning for liver destruction. So post-market analysis was able to take that supplement off the market. So it's not until after something happens that somebody's able to intervene. If a person's developing, like we're seeing a bunch of different liver disease or heart disease, hey, what were you taking? And then we're able to report it out to say, hey, we're seeing a lot more heart failure, for example, from this particular thing. We need to we need to look at it deeply. I don't know what the nitty gritty of that process looks like, but we're able to report it if we're seeing continuous trends of this dysfunction in people. I've seen issues. I've seen people, there's a lot of, for example, some things have licorice root in it. So I've seen people take different supplements that's supposed to be a multivitamin with these other herbs that are now also causing other issues too. Because remember, vitamin companies can also, or just not vitamin companies, can add a lot of additives and fillers. And they can say, hey, this is supposed to be a 2000 IU vitamin D, for example. You don't really know if it's 2000 IUs. It might be 300 IUs. And so now that's why I'm not seeing the change in the levels, right? Multivitamins, remember we were talking about that. They have pretty much all those essential vitamins that we were talking about. So the B's, the A, like all of those things are going to be in the multivitamin. And then some vitamins also have additional iron in them, depending on how they're marketed. The reason why you should take them is, like we were saying in the beginning, vitamins are so important for every function, immune function. You can think about it like this: the body is an organism that has a lot of different reactions happening. You have metabolism happening. You have your heart pumping that requires energy. You have your skin that's constantly breaking down, repairing itself. So you have a lot of processes happening all while we're just sitting here talking. And so for those processes to happen, a lot of vitamins serve as cofactors or helpers or catalysts for those processes to actually happen. So yes, we have the standard carbohydrate metabolism process that happens, but you need those vitamins to help that process effectively and efficiently work. That's why the essential nutrients are important. And like I said, if we were 100, 200 years ago, and we were all living off the land, like climbing trees to get our fruit directly and not buying it from a store, it will look a lot different. But I think as we progress through society and everything is about quick, fast, there's fast food literally everywhere. And so the deficiencies are only going to increase as we continue the way that we're living, unfortunately.
Okay.
Funny you say expensive, vitamins are expensive. I mean, fruit is expensive, groceries are expensive. So I think theoretically, yes, if a person ate a well-balanced diet, limited stress, exercised appropriately, agree, you theoretically wouldn't need additional supplementation. But what I'm seeing in the world now is people can't retire. We're working 12 plus hours, not being outside. Our stress levels are high. As Black women, we already have high cortisol levels. So theoretically, yes, a person should be able to get it through their balanced diet, but I just don't see it happening for every single person as it should equally. So that's why supplementation is so important. Theoretically, every vitamin company should have a nutritional fact on the back that tells you how much of each thing is in there. That's a requirement. You can actually look up every age group has a daily required amount, which again, that daily required amount is what we are theoretically supposed to get from diet. So I think starting there, people can literally look up on Google, what are the daily recommended amounts of vitamins I need for my particular age? And that'll give you how much daily you need. So you theoretically get that from the diet, and whatever you don't get from diet, you supplement. And that changes as we age, right? Like when we're kids, we need more vitamin D. When we're older, we need more calcium, vitamin D, because I've already checked your thyroid, I've already checked your liver, I've already checked your kidneys, I've already checked your electrolytes. And if I see if a person comes in and they're tired, they don't feel well, this is a very common thing in Black women because we suffer from a high burden of fibroids. And women, when you have heavy periods and things from fibroids, you're low in iron. And most women, unfortunately, think that, and as an OBGYN, you can probably attest that this period is normal that has been going on for 9 days, and it's not. And so it's not until they come in to see one of us where we're checking iron levels and we've already checked everything else and everything else was normal. And the iron is in the toilet, the hemoglobin is in the toilet. I know iron replenishment will help that person.
Yeah, yeah.
I always say you're the CEO of your body. I'm just
Sure,
an
sure.
advisor, the consultant. I don't know. Because I've
You've
seen
seen it.
I've just seen it. I think it's hard. Is I see what you're saying because health can be complex. You're right. And it's interesting you say a couple days off, a couple is I don't also think that one thing is isolated. If a person's
Yes,
tired, it
yes,
could be their iron. Could also be because they're working 4 jobs. So
yes.
I'm not saying it's one thing. I think we need to control it all for sure. But I do know that when we replenish things, people feel better.
It doesn't sound like you can do all of this in the usual 10 to 15 minutes that people are given to see patients. Can you describe your practice a little for us?
Yeah, so I am an employed internal medicine physician. I primarily practice outpatient, so I'm a primary care physician essentially. And I have a standard. Like most of my patients know, we come in, I assess vitamin levels from the get-go, like just so I know where we are with things, because I know the type of foods that we're eating. I'm fortunate enough to serve the community that I grew up in. So I know the different foods, I know our choices, I know the food desert communities. So I know to check for different things in people. And honestly, you say 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, yes, I look at the time, but if a person needs more than that, I'm going to give it to them. And my practice knows that. So um, I value listening to people. Truly, if you listen to people, they'll tell you everything that they need. And that's what I value. And that's what I kind of lean on when I practice medicine for people. I serve a lot of low income Metro Detroit population of people. Yes. I use the gauges feel better, but also look objectively at data too. So I just don't go off feeling. So I just wanted to add that in there too. But the essentially what happens is, let me go back. So your question was feeling better objectively. So how much time? So it depends on what the deficiency was. So again, vitamins are helping regular enzymatic reactions in our body happen. That takes time. So I generally will do a recheck, for example, with iron after a 6 week interval. For vitamin D, I'll give it about 6 to 8 weeks. So it just depends on, and it also depends on how low a person is. So most people I see in the office, they're coming in vitamin D levels at 5, 4. That is extremely low. So depending on how low they are, I might increase my frequency with which I check. So I've checked people who are really, really low after, 8 weeks, for example. So it just depends on where they start at in the trends and also other medications that they're taking. Remember, we were talking about the essential vitamins. So that essential is again something you need to get outside of your diet. So again, going back to that multivitamin question, I'm giving you B, and most multivitamins are going off of that daily recommended value. So the theory is that you may not be getting enough from your foods, but we know that you need X amount of this vitamin as a daily recommendation. So that's where the multivitamins come in at because you need those. You need to bring them into your system.
Routinely, Black folks have not been participants in these type of studies. So there is no way for us to know that these daily recommended values are optimal for Black folks.
I think it just also argues to healthcare in the US, right?
Yes.
We're
Right.
not taught to prevent. We're not, even as a community, like we're taught to, you know, be sedentary and just work until we can't work anymore. So it's not just vitamins, it's everything. To me, healthcare is a business, unfortunately, for a lot of people. And
Absolutely.
this is where we are with everything.
Miss Juma, can you tell us a little bit about the vitamin industry?
Growing based on what Dr. Stan said earlier about the quality of food that we're taking in being maybe less than previously. And so people have more deficiencies. They need to supplement more because the diet that they have isn't providing all of their needs for vitamins. And so hence they're looking for supplementation. And that industry obviously is growing because people have that need, right? Like in our case, we found 80%, 82% of Black women are vitamin D deficient. And so that calls for supplementation if most Black women aren't getting their vitamin D from the sun as well. And so they obviously need to turn to the industry to provide supplementation for them. It's very much rooted in personal experience about founder finding out she was vitamin D deficient and realizing that most Black women around her were also deficient. I personally too found out I was vitamin D deficient when I had my first physical in my 20s, or when it was first checked. And so finding out that this was an issue that was affecting a lot of other Black women inspired her to start this company, Black Girl Vitamins, and named Black Girl Vitamins because the goal is to focus on the most common vitamin deficiencies that Black women face. And then, of course, the brand has evolved to become sort of a one-stop shop for all of the vitamin and supplement needs that Black women have specifically. But yeah, so helping in filling those healthcare gaps is our goal. And we have medical advisors on our team because I'm not a doctor. We also want to make sure that people have professional advice from physicians as well, and they're getting that education. And so we're not just pushing vitamins to them, but they are well educated and aware as to how to advocate for themselves, to get their levels tested and checked. And they're very informed when they're making purchasing decisions for which vitamins and supplements to purchase as well.
So back to Black Girl Vitamins. What's is it one product? Is it multiple products? And how do I know which one I need?
Yeah, we have almost 20 different products on our website. The main ones, obviously, vitamin D, iron. We have a one-a-day multivitamin. And as we continue to add more products to the lineup, just based on conversations that we have with our medical advisors, with our customers, they give us feedback. Earlier in the year, for example, at expos, people kept coming up saying, hey, we need something for menopause. We need a supplement for menopause, right? And we worked with our medical advisors and manufacturers to bring out something called MenoChill that's gotten really great reviews since then. And so while that's not formulated, that's formulated with the needs that have come up based on conversations we've had with the medical advisors, and we continue to add more products. So our goal is to be a one-stop shop for all of the vitamin needs people have. We have collagen, we have iron. There's a wide range of products that we have. A mix of gummies, powder, capsules, and tablets as well. We have our website where blackgirlvitamins.co, and then we're also on Amazon as well. So we have a couple of products on Amazon, but you can shop our entire product lineup on our website.
And I was asking about the price range. Are you
Yes.
comparable, higher, lower? Where do you fall on this?
Yeah, I would say we're comparable. If you look on Amazon for example, vitamin D gummies, most of what pops up is really between the range of like $20 to $25, and that's right where we fall. So I would say comparable.
Okay. And
Can I also add too, just because a vitamin is cheaper doesn't mean it's going to be equally as effective. So that goes into that part where I was saying like the fillers, the dosing may be different, the quality of the vitamin may be different. So
do Black Girl Vitamins have a prenatal vitamin?
We do, yes. Our customers have asked for prenatal, right? And so we work with manufacturers to create a prenatal that has all the essential vitamins and minerals.
Say that you have medical reviewers who determine the dosage of the ingredients. So for instance, in a prenatal vitamin, your medical reviewers would make a recommendation as to the dosages that should be in the prenatal pills.
Correct, yes. And so we have three medical advisors on our team. So, for example, I think a few weeks ago, we're working on a new product. I sent Dr. Stan a memo and all the other medical advisors, and they came in saying, oh, this needs to be changed. This, there should be more of this. You should take out this because we're seeing patients reacting negatively to this ingredient. And so we do have active like input coming from a medical advisor. So not just taking what the manufacturing facility is providing, right? But also really, really getting research to back what we're putting in there.
Okay. And a lot of us, if we don't take our medications, we will take sea moss and ashwagandha and a number of other products. Doctor, what do you feel about that? And I guess, Ms. Juma, do you offer those products?
I'll answer first. We do have a CMOS. We have and again, also highly requested. We have CMOS in a capsule form, and we have a CMOS gummies as well.
Yeah, so it's interesting. You are exactly right. I have people who would prefer to take vitamins over the traditional medications, and it is a hard fine dance to battle, I think. And again, it goes just to the individuality of each person. Vitamins seem to be viewed from people as, non-medicinal, healthier, the preferred option, where again, I'm an internist to my core. So vitamins and traditional medicine, I do think have a role together. So I think it's all about talking to people, educating them on why we're using this and why we're not using this. But you can use these together to help a person just overall.
Okay. I can't end this conversation without talking about hair, skin, and nail vitamins. Women that I have encountered, even if they don't take a multivitamin, quite often they will be taking a vitamin for hair, skin, and nails. What do you have to say about that?
So a lot of hair, skin, and nail vitamins, and we do have a hair, skin, and nail vitamin at BGV, have biotin in them. Biotin is like one of the major drivers of hair, skin, and nail growth. And we do know that that's what the biotin vitamin does. Again, it just goes back to how much is in it. I think a lot of people, you can go and look at biotin. I'll have people come in taking 50,000 units of biotin, which again, we go to water soluble, and you're peeing a lot of that excess out. But I think is all about what people want to do too. We're also in that space where I have grown adults who don't eat vegetables. So if they feel like they need to take a hair, skin, and nail vitamin because their hair is shedding or their nails are breaking, I'm going to support that.
Why do you call it Black Girl Vitamins?
It's a bold way of just expressing that we want to, I mean, we're a Black owned company first, but we want to center Black women as our customer base. We believe, I mean, you mentioned it, I think earlier, or maybe before you started recording, about how there's just a lot of stats showing Black women being, the highest level of this. Vitamin D, we have the highest level of deficiencies and things like that. And so I think we're sort of reclaiming that and saying we're going to center Black women's needs and Black women's deficiencies and create community around Black women. And that's sort of like our focus, is to really center Black women. And the bold way of saying that is making the name Black Girl Vitamins, really.
So, and to clear, is it for girls? Are the vitamins for girls? Are they for women? Can men take these vitamins? Can non-Black people take these vitamins?
Yes. We have customers that are not Black women who take it. We call it Black girls. We're not referring to little girls. It's just like a play on it, on the word. It is for our customers. We recommend our, I think, 16 and up to take the vitamins. So it's not for girls per se. Men take the vitamins too. When we go to expos, we have people of different races who they just like CMOS and they want to buy from us, or they have friends who like the products and they purchase. We have men, spouses, significant others who also buy as well because they like the taste and things like that. So yes.
Yeah, my husband takes the one a day, so yes.
Exactly. And so just other things. I mean, I think you asked if there were anything we wanted to share. Community is really big for us. And so outside of the vitamins, one of the reasons I think people continue to buy vitamins from us is the community that we create, the medical advisors that we have. We have webinars almost every 2 weeks with our medical advisors. And so they get to have access to a Black female physician. And so Dr. Stan's done a few webinars. I helped host one 2 days ago talking about gut health. We had a cholesterol one 2 weeks prior. And so we try to not just provide vitamins, but provide just medical information. And you see a lot of the reviews or feedback in the Zoom comments is, I've never had access to a Black female doctor. I've never had anyone talk about this with some sort of like cultural aspect to, right? Dr. Sands nodding. So we definitely try to provide that access to for our customers. And then we provide a scholarship every month for Black women who are in the medical, in studying to become doctors, right? So we're about to announce 3 of our latest scholarship recipients in the coming week. They're all in medical school at HBCUs, for example. And so we also want to do that and cultivate the next generation of healthcare practitioners. And then we recently partnered with Howard University's women's basketball team as well, just to sort of like reaffirm our commitment to Black women's health at the intersection of athletics.
Great. Give us the website or how one can, you mentioned it earlier, but please repeat if someone's interested in looking into your products.
Of course, it's blackgirlvitamins.co, and you can also find us on Amazon as well.
Okay. Doctor, do you have any parting words for us?
No, I think the biggest thing is, outside from just vitamin supplementation, is get in to see a doctor. Get in to see a doctor, know where you stand, not just with vitamin deficiencies, but with everything. Don't be scared. If you feel like you can't talk to your doctor, get a new doctor. I think that's the biggest thing. If you have questions, ask. Go with a friend. Write questions down. Ask to record if you can't remember. I think that's the biggest thing, is trying to get people in the door first.
All right. Are you taking new patients?
I am taking new patients.
I'd like to thank you both for taking the time to share your information. Thank you both for the work that you're doing and the dedication, which is obvious in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Take care.
Take care.
Thanks for having us. Bye.